With 63 days to go until the midterms, President Biden is marking Labor Day in two major battleground states. As party leaders predict, he's got nothing to worry about.
We're going to hold the majority in the House because we have a plan to fix the problems our country is facing. The other side has only a ploy to win back power for themselves. This election is about mainstream versus MAGA, and I'm proud that we have a president that knows right from wrong.
Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich is author of Defeating Big Government Socialism. He joins us now to react. Good morning. Listen, first of all, over the weekend we saw the Dogs do really well. I know you're a Dogs fan, so if you want to give it a go Bulldogs real quick, you can go ahead and do that. I'll let you have it.
Listen, I think they'll end up as #1 again.
I think so, too. But moving on to more important things, you heard it there. I guess, you know...
More important?
Well, to our audience, maybe not to the Georgians out there. A few months ago, I was hearing Republicans are going to pick up 30 seats, maybe even more in the House. And now Democrats are trying to sell us that they're going to keep the House. Is that even possible?
Well, look, in life, anything's possible. Is it likely? No.
Yeah.
We've had our usual August. When I finally won election, I was behind 51-37 in August. George H.W. Bush was behind 19 points in May and became president of the United States. Well, the point of campaigns is to drive home facts. It's a fact that President Biden went to Philadelphia, gave a hateful speech in a city which has the highest murder rate in its history, a city with the highest armed robbery rate, the highest carjacking rate. 70% of Philadelphians say crime and safety is their biggest issue. The Democratic nominee, Fetterman, voted to release 25 murderers from prison. When that sinks in, I think we'll win the Senate race. The president's problem is he has no answer on inflation, no answer for the 20 million families who are behind on their electricity bills because prices keep going up, no answer for an open border policy, which has led to over 100,000 deaths last year from overdose. Twice as many Americans died last year from drug overdose as died in the entire Vietnam War, and Biden has no answer at all. So I think as we get into the fall campaign, Republicans will do very well. I think Kevin McCarthy's commitment plan will lay out a terrific range of future actions. And I think, in fact, if the Democrats had all these plans, why didn't they do them? They didn't do them, and the country's a mess.
You know, what you're talking about there is legislative successes that Biden wants to tout over last month. We're talking about the Inflation Reduction Act, perhaps student loan debt forgiveness. He wants to tout this bipartisan infrastructure package that a lot of Republicans voted for. If Kevin McCarthy does get the House and the speakership, what can he do or what should he do, presuming that the Democrats hold on to the Senate?
Well, first of all, I think the Democrats are going to lose the Senate, too. I believe that Rick Scott is right. We have good candidates. We're probably going to pick up somewhere between 4 and 6 seats. I think Herschel Walker is going to win in Georgia. I think Oz is going to win in Pennsylvania. Vance is going to win in Ohio. I personally believe Ron Johnson is going to do very well in Wisconsin. We're going to pick up the seat in Nevada with Adam Laxalt, who's a great candidate. So I feel pretty good about the Senate and the House. First thing they ought to do is take head on the spending issue. The country understands that government spending is driving inflation. Inflation is making every American poorer. And I think that the average American would support a strong, smaller government, lower taxes, less regulation plan. Every poll I've seen says the average American thinks government's too big and it's causing too much inflation. So I think that's where they should start.
Well, Biden's got his message that he's taken to Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, maybe a mulligan on the Pennsylvania side. We'll see if voters react well to it or if they're picking up what the Republicans are putting down. Mr. Speaker, thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.